What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. 2 in a row, like I promised. But today we're going to be talking about the Quest 3. So this is my second time recording this video because as I was putting the original footage together, I noticed it was a very long video, probably more lengthy than most of you want to watch. But there was a lot to say about this headset. There's a lot of pros, a lot of cons, a lot of thoughts that are neither. It's more about perspective on the future of VR and the future of meta with VR. But let's get right into it. So I want to start off with the pros first, and then we'll go into the cons, and then go into who I think this headset is for. And then in between some of those, there'll be some general thoughts about the headset. So if you have some background, I initially first had a Rift S, then I had gotten a Quest 2, then a PSVR 2, and then an Index, in that order. The PSVR 2 and Index came at the same time. I know a lot of people say, why'd you buy an Index so later in life of the system? I just really wanted to, mainly for Half-Life Alyx. But I did play majority of my VR experiences within the Rift S and Quest 2 era. I would flip-flop between the two. But just to give you guys a little bit of general idea where I'm coming from in VR, I'm pretty experienced. Call myself enthusiast and a hobbyist, but I'm going to be taking the perspective of a casual VR gamer, experience, thrill type of person. Anyone that likes VR but casually. So I think the biggest pro for these headsets are the pancake lenses at this price point. A lot of us in the US weren't able to get our hands on the Pico 4 easily. We had to go probably on eBay or some other site and pay extra shipping to get it in. I just decided to get the Quest 3 and wait for that. Quest Pro, it was kind of too high for me. And even though it had a lot of cool features, I was like, I'll just wait. And I just went and got a Index and wanted to wait for the Quest 3. So mainly because of the pancake lenses, I've heard so much about it. And everyone's saying it's a game changer to everything. So I really wanted to experience that. And I think along with the pancake lenses, the resolution bump that this headset got, I think it's a really good combo. I remember I launched Half-Life Alyx and I played them without my glasses. I didn't put my glasses on because I didn't want them to scratch the lenses. And man, it's like night and day from the Quest 2 to this. Because I initially played Half-Life Alyx, the first half of it, in the Quest 2 with prescription lenses in there. And then the second half I played on the Index. And for just that jump was amazing in resolution and frames and overall experience. But the lenses themselves is the pancake lenses themselves add a lot to it. So other than the pancake lenses, I really think that adds to the value of experiencing VR in the Meta Quest 3 is the size and form factor and the weight. It doesn't put a lot of pressure on your neck. I remember when I'd be hours into Half-Life Alyx or any PSVR game, I would feel a lot of tension in the back of my neck over here. I would feel it really, really stiff. And even though there was like different ways to balance out the weight by getting an elite strap or adding batteries or whatever to the back, it still added a lot of weight to my neck. And every gram counts because there's so many small muscles in your neck, around your jaw and your head, that in a couple grams here and there might seem insignificant, but over time, for those small muscles, it does get a little bit tense, especially if we're always driving on the computer, on our phones. It's just an added extra tension to your neck more than you need it. So the next thing was performance for standalone. I definitely don't play as much standalone with the Quest 2 or Quest 3. I'm more of a PC VR kind of person. More of a PC person in general. Especially, with the Quest 2, the performance wasn't that great. So I was like, why would I buy a game or experience a game in the Quest ecosystem where I could just buy it on PC and the cable doesn't bother me and I would just not have the issue of battery or anything like that and have better performance. So I always stuck to PC VR, but I did experience some of the games that I normally would play on PC VR, like Beat Saber, obviously, and a bunch of other games out there that are both on PC and Quest. And I definitely think with the performance boost, the resolution, the pancake lens, and the comfort, They all tie in together, and it definitely feels like a better overall experience if you're a standalone VR enthusiast. Most of us that I think out there that are into VR more than casuals, probably more than likely play PC VR, excuse me, and play standalone supplemental. A very small niche portion of that small portion of the VR community. So you have the diehard enthusiasts, and the small portion of that only play standalone VR. But if you're a casual person, you're more than likely to play only standalone. Some people may not afford to have a PC to play PC VR. So good news for you guys, the performance is a lot better. Next thing is kind of a mixed bag, pun intended. It's mixed reality. I know Meta has been really pushing the whole mixed reality thing and enterprise workspaces and experiences through mixed reality games, movies, all this type of stuff. But it's cool, but yeah, it's not there yet. I did try the introductory experience with the Quest. I did watch some of the other videos out there on other mixed reality games. None of them were enough for me to want to buy it. It seems like it's the mixed reality gaming experience is kind of in that mobile genre right now. It's still very early, and it's very limited on what you can do. It's like, you know, the early days of mobile gaming, it was just like Angry Birds, Candy Crush, all that. It's really cool to experience, and it gets me excited, but I definitely don't think that it's a selling point. They were really trying to push it to say, hey, mixed reality's here, everyone should experience it. I don't think it's fully there yet. And there's only a handful of games out there that are strictly mixed reality, and some games out there do have a mixed reality component to the game, and there's some other free apps here and there. But I think it's a pro and a con, because it's just kind of cool to see where the future of XR is going to be. I'm more of a VR person because I want to completely be out of my environment. I kind of want to be fully immersed. I feel like mixed reality takes away a huge chunk of immersion. So I'm more of a VR person versus a mixed reality, a MR. So I think it's cool. I think it's a cool supplement, and kind of like, hey, cool, it's kind of there. If there's a cool application eventually that fits me, or a game that I like, boom, it's already there. So real quick through the cons, I don't want to linger on that too much because I try to stay more on the positive side of things. The Quest 3 feels like a refresh of the Quest 2. I know it might be controversial. A lot of snobs on the internet that are, you know, VR enthusiasts or journalists or whatever might disagree. Go ahead, but it definitely feels like that Meta did what PlayStation normally does. It's like the PS4, PS4 Slim, PS4 Pro, PS2, the fat one, PS2 Slim, PS3, same thing. It's kind of like a revision where, because VR is still new and technology is always growing, you're going to see a lot more advancement between headset to headset. It was more like Meta saying, hey, we're still relevant. Our headsets are still able to keep up with everyone else. Because you had Pico jump into the market, and they weren't able to sell in the US for obvious reasons, with the TikTok company and all this stuff with the US government. But they kind of played catch up. They're like, hey, we're here, we're there. Don't forget about us, and we're still relevant and have all this newer tech that you guys have been asking for, which is not a bad thing. It's just, it's not a huge leap forward. It was more like, hey, we're just gonna catch up with the rest of the market, and it's about time. I think the biggest issue with the Quest 3 is the price for storage. Now, yes, I do. Now, take away all the accessories. Before I get into the accessories, the headset itself starts at $500 and then goes up to $650. The $500 obviously comes with Asgard's Wrath 2. $650 has more storage, MetaQuest, whatever the subscription service, and Asgard's Wrath 2. I don't understand why the $500 one only has 128 gigabytes. I feel like in this day and age in 2023, it's really nothing. Like, most of the system OS is going to take up that 128, so you have even less. So as games get more complex with mixed reality, VR, and if they're planning on having this for the next 3 years, I don't think 120 is enough. I definitely think they dropped the ball on this one and should have had 256. So let's get into the question of who is this headset for. First, I think the easy one is for PC VR enthusiasts. For people who don't have a high-end VR headset like a Pimax, an Index, and so forth, people who have a Quest 2, and that's their daily driver for the PSVR and want to have a better experience with VR gaming, but don't want to spend that much money on an Index right now or on a Pimax, or just waiting for the next Valve headset, I definitely think this is worth an upgrade just for the lenses and the resolution. For PSVR, you will have a way better experience. Now, if you're not a PSVR person, you only play standalone VR gaming, it kind of gets a little tricky because the Quest 2 is still going to be relevant. Remember when I said it's kind of like that PlayStation treatment where they have like multiple different SKUs and all the games will run? So far as of now, for the next year, I think everything is going to be running on the Quest 2 and the Quest 3. The Quest 3 obviously is going to be a better experience. Now, should you go rush out and get a Quest 3? That's up to you. Do you have extra cash? Did you enjoy the standalone experience? I would say go ahead. If you're still on the fence and didn't play the Quest 2 too much, or played it casually and were like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but not yet, I would probably wait till there's a price drop, or maybe see if there's another game that out there that would, you know, put like make you jump to go get a Quest 3 to experience it. That for standalone strictly, I think that's where it stands. It's kind of just iffy. But if you're a PC VR enthusiast, I would definitely go get this. Alright guys, that wraps up the video on the Meta Quest 3. Like I said, it's not a review, it's more of like an impression / thoughts with the Quest 3. A little less than a week. Jumping around from different games here and there and experiences to see how much it differs from the Quest 2 to the Quest 3. And you know, adding a little bit more to it with PC VR. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one.